welcome to the Metal Mixtape here on KSQ 89.5 FM Ashland, Oregon, 94.1 FM Medford, Oregon, streaming online on kskqdjramo. It is the boy, it is the dog, DJ Ramo. Right now, we have the absolute pleasure of talking to Ash from Voyager, drummer extraordinaire, drummer machine, drummer just virtuoso on the air from Australia. Ash, how's it going, my buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. That was an incredible intro. You've done that before.
Oh, dude, hundreds of times, man. You know what I mean? Because I'm recording this right now. You know, we're zooming and all that, but I work at an FM radio station. You know, and then I'll air these on all my social medias, and then I'll go do radio, and I'll air it over the radio. And
Nice.
we have like the top of the hour where we always have to introduce the station ID and everything. And it just kind of came easy, man, you know.
It rolls off the tongue.
I'm Mexican, so I could roll that R or S's or I'm a roly poly, dude. But you know what? Like I told you, dude, listening to Voyager, absolute breath of fresh air, man. What, and the thing is, it's like, okay, well, you know, sometimes we'll get these emails of these bands, right? And I'll get like this huge list of albums. And I'm like, all right, like you kind of have like I feel like a lot of times, like maybe like half are hit or miss. And I'm not saying they're hit or miss as in like they're not great albums in their own right, because you know, music obviously is subjective. But it's always nice that like when you get like a breath of fresh air, where like my favorite bands are the bands that everybody buys into the idea. Because a lot of times you can watch music videos or watch live performances where some people are feeling the music more than others. There's certain bandmates over there that could kind of bored, or there's a bandmate over there that goes like, man, why did they dress me up in this? Like this, like this sucks.
One of those bands where, like, you know, the bass player's in corpse paint, but no one else is, you know, like
yeah, he's like, nobody liked my idea, you know. Yeah. No, but you know, the thing is, it's like immediately what I do after I get an album, I don't listen necessarily to the album. I'm more of like a live video and video type of guy, you know what I mean? Because like anybody can go into a studio and just absolutely overproduce like a monster, and it'd be incredible, you know. And you're like, all right, well, can they nail it live? And I was watching your Eurovision performance, and it was, dude, I got goosebumps, man. You know what I mean? Because you see
you and me both.
Oh yeah, because you see Danny, like, you know, first of all, just like in this like old school. I don't know what, you know, I read into Danny that he loves, like, you know, his old school cars, but I'm not sure what that kind of old school car was. But you know, he's
a Toyota MR2.
A Toyota made that.
Yeah, Toyota MR2.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I didn't know Toyota had it in them.
Oh yeah. Well, they did back in the day.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, you know, when I think of like Toyota, like any type of sports car, I think of like the Celica or something. You know what I mean? Because it had more of like the slick, like Ferrari type of look. You know, where it's like where everything's kind of like slanted, like just like flat hoods and stuff.
I don't know my sports cars; they don't fit a drum kit in them, so they're all used to that.
Oh, you know, you couldn't fit anything. You could maybe a drum kick. You know,
Danny can barely fit his guitar in that thing.
No, but the thing is, I was watching this live performance, dude, and it's insane, the explosion. You know, especially after like his little vocal performance right in the middle, and then everybody coming out so hard. And what I love about you guys, man, is that like listening, like especially to the entire album of like Paris and Love, is that like you're you pinpoint where you want to add like these heavy, like you probably can hear this 10 times today while you're doing interviews, like, you know, like the low tuning, like Digenti type of sounds within it. But the thing is that it doesn't counter, like it balances perfectly with like the prettiness of like what Danny's doing on his guitars, and you know, and you're bringing it all together, because you know, like sometimes when I was listening to this album, I was like, you know what, I bet Ash can join any band right now, because because the thing is that you're doing so much different things in every aspect of you're doing what the song calls for you to do. You know what I mean? And then when like when Alex, Scott, and Simone all come in, that's where like everybody just comes in at a huge wave, you know? And it's so perfect, man. You know what I mean?
I think you've nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because let me tell you this, as a honest listener and bystander, I didn't expect, like my very first listen, I didn't expect for you guys to hit that heavy part during Promise in that performance.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
expect that. No, seriously. I noticed the down tuning in I think like there's 7 strings they're playing, I believe.
Yep.
You know, I noticed the down tuning. I'm like, okay, like this is you know, like if you do it right, this is great for like Danny's vocals, because the lower down tuning, you're asking for like your guitars, you're asking for a different tone out of your vocalists. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everything constantly changes. But I feel like he's still singing like in his natural voice. But dude, that performance was so insane, Danny. And you know, just like a quick brief about your bio. I just want to go in really quick. It's like did you start off when you first started playing drums, playing like straight heavy metal? Or were you always like into these type of bands where because for me with Voyager, it felt like you guys had all these tough ingredients, and you're just like, all right, guys, with the tougher ingredients that we tried to add in, the harder it is going to be able to actually balance it and keep writing tracks. Were you always like, did you start off as a rock drummer, a heavy metal drummer, or what type of drummer did you start off and your influences when you were younger? Because you're an absolute machine, dude. But you also know,
Thank you.
but you also know when to cool it, because you have to give vocals to breathe, and you have to give the riffs to breathe. Because if you're just going off the entire time, it sounds like a mess.
Yeah. I mean, that. I think you've nailed it. That took me a long time to learn, though. I think like I listened to earlier Voyager records like V, and I listen now, and it's a bit exhausting for me. I'm overplaying, and I used to tell people, like, you know, when I was much younger, it's like, oh, what I really like about playing in metal bands is I don't want to play the same bar again. I want every bar to be different. I'm completely the opposite now. Like, and you said it before as well, like it's about playing to serve the song, and I feel like that's one of the best things I've learned over the span of my career, is actually listening to the song and paying attention to it. But yeah, my influences, when I started drumming because of Dave Grohl. I was a massive Nirvana
I love
fan.
Dave so
So was
much.
my entire, yeah, like just he's a force of nature, and watching him is like the most inspiring thing. It's not great for the bank balance, because, you know, if you play like him, you're going to break a lot of cymbals when you're learning how to play drums, but it's a very satisfying thing as well. So yeah, I started off playing a lot of rock. My first proper band, I think we were very similar to like Smashing Pumpkins kind of style music, sort of a combo of Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana. And when I think I joined a metal band a couple of years later, and I had to buy a double kick pedal for it, because I'd never really spent any time doing that sort of thing either. So yeah, I think my background's sort of more rock, and I play in a lot of blues bands and stuff as well, back here. So yeah, there's a lot of influences. The metal bands really, I played in one called Pyromesh in my youth, and then took a break from metal, and then I was in Voyager. So I've kind of cut my teeth sort of as I've been going with metal music, really.
Dude, no, that's insane. No, because like, you know, I even have it like right. It's funny that you're talking about like kind of like those jazzy bands, because like even like the Prince of Fire, you know, I noticed that, like, you know, the reason I asked so many of your drum styles is that you are playing like these double kick triplet parts and these intricate parts, you know, to add like almost like that breakdown feeling to these riffs while you're going through like these rhythmic progressions. So for me, it's like you clearly have the abilities to go as hard as you want,
Mm.
but it's nice to hear you play what the songs need, because it just amplifies when you do go hard to go
I
even
think it's
harder.
100%. Like it, you know, the dark colors look darker when you put them next to a light color.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you need that contrast. So like I couldn't, and probably wouldn't want to double kick my way through a song, even though you could do it,
yeah.
because where do you go from there? Do you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you can do it the other way around. Like I've heard some, like, you know, black metal bands and things, and like when they stop double kicking and go to like a cool like 4/4 groove,
Oh,
it's like,
it's
oh
weird.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? It's insane because, like, yeah, I 100% agree, because the climax could work both ways. You
Yeah,
could
one hundred percent.
you could either build up to this heavy moment, or you could just, the whole thing could be heavy and build up to a soft moment.
Yeah,
And
and we
it's funny you mentioned that, because anytime I listen to a black metal album, they're always climaxing to like a slow moment.
yeah, and it totally works for that sort of thing. It's cool. It's all about contrast, and you know that we did focus on that a lot in this album as well. We were really looking at like how could we maximize the impact of like every moment in every song. Like yeah, every part of a song has an idea, and every song is an idea, and it's all about like how is every instrument pushing that idea. So we did spend a lot of time on those real nitty gritty things that we haven't really done before, and that's why I think it's such a like a tightly composed album, and I'm really proud of that part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I might have not written this down, but I think I remember it, reading like so you guys have been a band for 12 years, right?
I've been in the band 12 years, but
About
Voyager's been
okay, so
around
you okay,
for.
so you've been okay, I was reading into this saying that this was like one of the first albums that you guys wrote all together instead of like recording parts individually. Is that something I read right?
Yeah, oh, it's interesting. Like there's two parts to it. Like
Okay.
with writing the song, normally what we do is we get into a rehearsal room and we just keep hacking away at things until the songs start to take shape. But this time around, what we did was we all just
Oh.
got together at our guitarist's house, and it was almost kind of like trading parts. So like only really one person had an instrument at one time. So like when you're hearing a guitar riff, everyone is forced to listen to it rather than sitting there noodling on their own instrument,
Oh, you're
thinking about
right.
their own part. So we're kind of building the song that way. But what we also did differently is when we recorded it, we all got in a room together and recorded live.
Hmm.
So instead of multi-tracking like we normally would. So yeah, maybe now that I think about it, it's almost backwards compared to what we'd usually do. We usually write all together in a jam room and record separately. This time we kind of more wrote separately but recorded together.
That's insane. That's totally like an old school aspect, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, because
totally
I
worked for us.
oh yeah, because I know like System of a Down did that with like Toxicity, where like they're literally, they're all in, they're all recording the same, but they're all in separate rooms, and
Mm,
they're all hearing in on each other. So it's
yeah.
like so you have to like nail this performance, but I feel like you're able to capture a huge live performance with that. But dude, it's like with this album, like there's so many elements to this album. Of course, I don't know if you agree or not, but my favorite song on this album is Dreamer. I can't stop singing that song. You know what I
Sick.
mean? And I love it, dude. Like before I'm happy as soon as that intimate came to the Zoom room, I was like, you got nowhere to be, nowhere to I got nowhere to go. you
A little like
know.
dance. That's our dance anthem. That song. That's
you
what that's all
know.
about.
yeah,
So
so
I don't know if you know or not, but that was our entry to Eurovision the previous year. So that was
okay.
our yeah. That's when Australia did a national like competition. We were one of the finalists for that. We didn't win that year. We came second, but Dreamer was the song that we entered for that one.
No, that's insane, dude. I do want to get into Eurovision, but one of the things I want to talk about this album is like, okay, so we were talking about how like there's so many elements that you guys are adding on, right? Of
Mm,
course, there's a lot of in this album, a lot of Danny starting the songs, and
mm,
a lot of you guys leaving a lot of open space for his vocals, you know.
mm,
So and so I remember you guys telling me that like, okay, you guys sat in the band room, the guitar player was sitting there, you guys are hearing everybody do their parts individually. That way, nobody's noodling or everything's getting all congestive. Like like if Danny has like a vocal part he's writing and everything, do you guys just kind of just figure out how to amplify his vocals, or is that something Danny tries to bring in later? Because a lot of little sections are a lot of guitar, there are a lot of synth, there are a lot of background production, and then you have the
mm.
overlaying of the instruments. Like how do you guys know to like have like a certain pocket for his vocals and know how to amplify it?
The vocals do mostly come later. Although a lot of the time when we start writing, Danny will come in with like a bit of like a synth hook and like some scratch vocals over it that he thinks might work. So it kind of goes both ways. Sometimes we'll have some idea of what he's going to do vocally and we work around it. Other times we have no idea and he'll go away and add some vocals later. But I think because of how we wrote the song this time and we spent a lot more time listening rather than playing, I think it like created some space for it
Hmm.
because you'd be sitting there listening and going, this doesn't need any drums in this part. Like I could add something to it, but it's awesome as it is. I'll try to add something. No, it's not as good as it was when it was empty. So like you just yeah, you leave it out. But I like to. I like to sometimes, like when I've heard Danny's vocals, go back and rewrite a few parts because I like to kind of reference his vocal rhythms in my beats in other parts of the song just to kind of tie it together. I like that nerdy stuff, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, no, dude, dude, I love Danny, dude. I love his confidence, dude.
Oh,
He's,
yeah.
I think it's so important to have a front man who has so much confidence, but everybody in your band has confidence, dude, and that's what I love about it, and like there's so much talent all around, dude, and just like watching your live performances. Not only did I watch your live performance at Eurovision, but I watched them like everywhere I could find them.
Oh, legend. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, because I just wanted to see like how the production is because like when you listen to a band, how much vibrantness and also like the synchronicity and like when you guys go into like certain breakdowns, you want to
Yeah.
hear that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you guys like always nail it. I always say the drummer is the hardest position of any band because if the
Damn
drummer
right.
messes up, everybody knows. I've been
It's
playing
so true.
I've been playing guitar 20 years, man. And if I didn't hold a chord right or the only thing a guitarist can mess up is like if we're doing a solo and the very last note is like some huge harmonic or like
Yeah.
some huge dive bomb. But a drummer, it's almost like a game of Jenga, and you guys are at the very bottom pieces. And if you pull out that bottom piece of Jenga, everything kind of starts going like this.
Do you know what though? I've got a good hack for that one though. If you
Oh
do
yeah.
make a mistake, yeah, if you do make a mistake as a drummer, just make it 3 more times on purpose, and then that's the beat.
Are you adding it like every fourth so you know it's just in time, right at the end?
Yeah, exactly right. Let's say you miss a snare on the four or something. Well, for the next 3 bars, just miss the snare every time, and then it looks like yeah.
Yeah, and then those music snobs will look over at you and be like, I never thought of
That's
that.
that's really avant-garde.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's kind of
smart.
cool. Yeah.
I love it, man. Before we get into these other questions, like what was your favorite part about working in Fearless and Love? And also when did you guys know when the album was done? Because I'm sure with like majority of bands and maybe your band, it's like you guys definitely had a lot more than 11 songs probably to choose from. And you guys had to make sure, what 11 songs is perfect. Like when you guys are building an album, like when do you know like a song is correct and ready to be put on the album? And also like when this album was getting released, was there a song on the album that like you were just like, man, I hope I can't wait for people to listen to this specific track?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like I thought we knew when the album was done because originally it was a 10-track album.
Okay.
And for those people who got the vinyl, because that was the first pressing, and it takes a long time to make vinyl. That was sent off to the printers like a year ago. So Promise isn't on the vinyl because we wrote Promise after that.
Oh, okay.
But when we wrote that, we're like, oh, this would fit really well on the album. So although we thought we were done, but like actually we could get this track on there and it really makes sense to go after Submarine to chuck it there. So yeah, the CD versions and new vinyls from here will have that on there. So
Cool.
I guess we didn't even know when it was finished. It felt finished after 10 tracks. We felt like we told the story, but then we realized there was this other little bit that wanted to come out and get on there. I actually didn't think we're normally pretty economical. We normally sort of only write what we need for an album.
Oh,
And I
okay.
thought that's what we did here, but I was going through some files today and I'm like, oh, there's like 3 or 4, like 3/4 finished songs here that we didn't end up putting on the album.
Yeah.
And I listened to one of them and it's like 6 minutes of blast beats, basically. So I don't know what we were thinking with that one. It's on. It wouldn't have fit on this album. So maybe in a future one, I think. But there was a couple others that I'm like, oh, that could have worked. So who knows? But yeah, I don't know how you know an album's done. Sometimes the time just runs out and you have to get in a studio soon and release an album. That's the practical one. But it's just, I feel like for me, I can feel the pace of an album, I think. Like
Mhm.
when I listen to the whole thing all the way through, there's been a lot of times in the past where I've been like, what it's missing is like a fast song or it's missing like a mid-tempo heavy thing. Or, you get a feel for what part of the story is missing. And once you don't have that feeling anymore, you can be pretty sure it's good to go. At least that's how it works for me.
Okay.
I was really excited for people to hear the lamenting and the title track, Gren Fearless in Love. Like I'm a real sucker for heavy, sad songs. They just make you feel good for some bizarre reason. So I really wanted people to hear that because I think like, Voyager isn't a band that's necessarily sort of worn their heart on their sleeve very much, and I think the title track is a fairly sort of raw, personal track for us for some reason. And yeah, I wanted people to hear that side of us because I feel like it doesn't come out that much.
I love it, man. I feel like you guys are like a buffet of music, man. You guys have a lot
Yeah,
of sides. You know what I mean?
that's how we
And,
feel about it too.
oh yeah, like and like no, that's awesome, dude. Those songs were absolutely awesome. But I do love that like you also have songs that like show a lot more of your personality because your videos of Prince of Fire, Ultraviolet, Dreamer, Submarine is just like chaos.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any of the other videos.
We needed to get that out of our system, man. Like, we are not very serious people.
Oh no,
we just had to do something like that.
Oh no, you know what? I knew it when like because I know you were like a hammerhead shark in that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, like I know they probably got like okay. First of all, did you guys all get to choose who you wanted to be under the sea? Like, or was it or was it like a limited amount of costumes you guys Rochambeau?
It was kind of like that. Like we had very limited time to get our opinions in, and if not, Danny would just order costumes for everyone. So I don't know if Scott really wanted to be a mermaid, but he ended up being a mermaid.
Oh man, I think it's either you got the best one or Simone was a crab, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Either you or Simone, I think, got the best, but no,
I don't. Costume.
No, it was sick. No, you easily got you were looking like the coolest one. But no, I did love how you guys showed your personality because the whole video was about trying out a bass player or looking for a bass player to try out for the band, and then you have like Danny at the end with like some like pilot hat thing and like pulled up pants, and he's just like blowing out with like a horn or something.
I don't understand the inspiration for that costume at all, and I haven't asked him about it. I feel like that's just his thing, and I'm going to let him have it.
Oh no, I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. But I think it's awesome that you guys like had like that many elements to it. For me, I thought the heaviest song on this album, maybe it was just because I felt like there was a lot of guitar riffing was Twisted. It was because because in a lot of other parts I felt like you had more like breakdownish type of riffs, rhythmics in the guitars, but this one like I heard a lot of riffing just constantly.
That was like a straight ahead banger, like
yeah. So for me, I would say everybody listening, definitely listen to the entire album. My favorite tracks would easily be Dreamer and Twisted. Those
hell yeah.
And it's crazy because they're both like a paradox from each other,
we toyed around with doing a film clip for Twisted for so long, and it might still happen because it's turned out to be like one of the most popular tracks on the album. So it's great fun. I can't wait to play that live.
Oh yeah, no, it's brutal, dude. Like it's fast. It's like real sweet guitar riffs in it, dude. I thought it was sick. So yeah, definitely Fearless in Love. Check out every song on there is absolute banger. I definitely recommend listening into the first track to the 11th track. It definitely all complements each other. But dude, of course, one of the biggest topics that everybody's going to be talking about is like your guys' amazing performance at Eurovision in this contest. And can I tell you where I heard Eurovision the first time? And
please do.
And you already know this answer.
So the first Will Ferrell movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. It's literally when I heard like I watched the movie and I heard like Volcano Man and all that. And the thing is, it's like no, I thought it was awesome. Like I didn't know like there was like this huge international like thing. Like it's almost like bigger than American Idol at one point. It feels like because I feel like because these are real artists. I mean, not that American Idol's not real artists. But I'm saying like this is like you guys are really able to do it, like really perform at like your max, because after like, of course the Will Ferrell movie, hilarious. Who doesn't love Will Ferrell? But the thing is, I was watching your guys' interviews and I was like listening to like, because like you guys were talking about how like you guys all love Eurovision, but Danny really has been onto it. You know what I mean? And every performance is like out of this world, dude. It's almost like I wouldn't say circus act. I would only I would only compare it to that as far as like there being a climax.
Yeah, no,
You know what
I
I
know
mean?
exactly what
So
you mean. Yeah,
in that performance, not the clowns or anything like that. I'm talking about
yeah,
how like they're building up to this massive moment in these tracks. So every single one of these tracks and performances I saw Eurovision was like, dude, it's like the best of the best coming out here to show you something like they've never done before. But I never knew it was such a
yeah,
huge contest like that. So
yeah,
you know, you played music your whole life. You've played in shows like when you're playing like a televised event and there's all these people in production like okay, I played shows. I've been playing shows for 20 years. Like
yeah,
I've done big shows before.
yeah.
So when you're going in is it a completely different side of sort of sound check and production? And also like how much control do you guys have like as far as like okay, like because you know I don't know if like televised big production sound people have like the same experience as like festival sound people or sound people that are venue specific like
Yeah.
what was the atmosphere like when you guys were kind of come in and get ready for your performance and rehearsals?
It's absurdly professional. Like the team is top of their game. In all facets. I mean, like one way you can describe it is like the grand final, for example, has 26 acts playing, and that's just the main competition, not all the intervals and matinees and stuff like that. And they change over the whole stage in 40 seconds between each act, right? Like that's unheard of. You think of playing on like a 4-band bill and it takes people half an hour to change over. They do it in 40 seconds. And that's like get all the staging on and off, set everything up. Like it's crazy. Um, the production, everything behind the scenes, like, you go into a monitor room to get your ears checked, and then they take that off because that's just to test your in-ears. Then you go into another room to get all properly eared up and mic'd. And yeah, it like from a production standpoint, it's ridiculous. Like the lighting setup is like nothing I've ever seen. There's millions upon millions of individually controllable like pixel elements, and from a television standpoint, which I don't really know anything about, there's like 37 cameras to choose from, and it's completely wild. The whole floor is an LED screen. They put the stage plot on the floor to help with changeovers just on the TV. Like, yeah, it's like nothing I've ever
What?
seen, and it's crazy professional, and just so wild. But you do actually get a lot of control over it, but it's an interesting fine line because it's way bigger than any one band can control. You need to have a team with you, like who understand it. Like so, like a lot of our creative team have done a few Eurovisions before, so they understand sort of the process and everything like that. So like we have what we want, but we're a band. We don't know what works on TV. We have ideas and we know what we want to see, but you kind of have to also trust the team that you hire to be honest with you and go, I hear your idea, but here's why parts of that might not work, or here's how we could do that differently, or here's how we could do it better to make it work. Because we discovered very early on that like, maybe there's a little bit of overconfidence on our part, but we thought, well, we're a live band. We've been doing this for 20 years, like yourself. I know how to work a stage. It'll be fine. But as soon as you see that first performance back, you're like, oh, wow, what we usually do doesn't work because we're used to playing to the audience. We're not used to playing to the people watching at home down the camera. And that's a very, very different thing.
Oh,
So yeah, you have to really listen to professionals. You still got to stand your ground on some things. Like I think because it's Eurovision, a lot of the creative team didn't quite get what we were trying to do with the breakdown, and we had so many discussions about how we wanted that breakdown to land. You know what I mean?
uh,
But we're like, we want all the lights to cut. We want it to look like we've completely shorted out the arena, and then it all explodes back in again and stuff. And like they're like, okay, we think we get that, but also you're being broadcast on TV. If you do that, there's problems with like flashing lights and triggering. Like there's certain tests on TV that you can't fail because then it can't be broadcast. So there's all this weird compromise and stuff like that that you don't think about. But if you all work together, you get something pretty cool. So yeah, you're in charge of it, but you're also paying people to help you get the best result as well. And they know a bit more than you do about some parts, but you also know a bit more than they do about other things. So yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
no, you are, man. And which was also bringing me to like feeds off to like another question. It's like, I felt like you guys like were right in the pocket as far as like, okay, like you have this huge show, you have this one performance, like I felt like you guys did exactly what you guys needed to do. to perform the song? Because I feel like a lot of like I don't know if like nerves ever get to you or not. You know,
Not really.
no, because the thing is like with like dude, like you guys all did incredible up there. Like just the performance, like I felt like there was no like overdoing, like overstepping a performance, like overdoing too much. Like you guys were right in that pocket. You know what I mean? And it's nice because you guys are able to like represent the song. You know, give the right projection of what you guys wanted the song to be in the studio out on stage. You
Yeah.
know,
Do you know,
oh, go ahead.
it's almost impossible to overperform for TV.
Okay.
Everything that you think is massive looks about 4 times smaller through a camera for some reason. You have to kind of like go as hard as you can.
No, dude, it's incredible. I watch those high performances and I'm just like, dude, you're going nuts on the drums.
Hell yeah.
I love just the compliments and the vocals too. It's Alex, right, that does a lot of the other vocals.
Yeah.
His vocals
He's
are
a machine.
so badass, dude. So
Yeah.
good. But
He's
I love
crazy.
it that like him and Danny compliment each other because I've definitely heard bands where like there's some compliments, there's not some compliments. And also with I feel like it's a completely different task to have to compliment with two clean vocalists than it is to have somebody who screams and somebody who sings. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a lot easier to get to the right key of vocals when you're screaming and singing, opposed to having two clean vocalists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you also, you have your natural voice, you have your head voice, and you have your chest voice that you all have to combine at the same time. And I thought what Alex and Danny did was just so sick, and especially live on stage, because it also gives Danny that breathing room to like do his guitar with Simone's solo. You know what I mean? So it's such a banger, dude.
Yeah. Their voices have very different characters to them, I reckon. So it's really cool to be able to use those to their full potential. And I feel like every album we do, we're using Alex a little bit more. So yeah,
I love it,
next
man.
one we'll have even more of his singing.
I love it, dude. Well, it looks like we're running out of time a little bit. I don't want to jump into the next journalist this time. I'm one of those people, man. I don't. I'm in my profession. I don't want to screw them up. But everybody, we've been talking to Ash from Voyager. Please check out this album. It's a beautiful album, and also check out their live performances. I also, if you're listening to this, I actually recommend you check out their live performances first and their music videos because then you're going to be able to see them and their personalities and how much they love their music, and you're going to feel different for the album completely because you're going to know like, man, they're no joke. Before I let you go, Ash, could you say this is Ashley from Voyager and you are listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Of course. Hey, this is Ashley from Voyager and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape.
Ashley, you have a great rest of your day, man. I'm sure I'll talk to you in a couple years or something when the industry all like shifts around and stuff. and
well, hopefully we'll be back on your shores sooner rather than later, man. Like we haven't been to the US since 2018, and it's got to happen.
All right, I'll figure it out. I'm pretty good at getting backstage. I'll see when you guys are coming to the US, and I'll be like, hey, get me in the back. And I'll be like, Ashley. And you'll be like, "Who are you, man?" And I'll be like, "I'll do the intro to my show," and you'll be like, you're that guy."
No, man, get in touch. You totally get it. I can't wait to see you at a show. Be awesome.
Ashley, you have a great rest of your day in interviews, and it's the weekend, so have a killer weekend, my friend. Well, it's almost the weekend, but you have a good time. Close enough. All right, I'll talk to you later, brother.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Have a good one.
Man. Bye.